Hello, welcome to the Knit Girls. This is episode 632. I'm Laura, also known as Lala.
I am Leslie, also known as You Don't Call Me Les. Today is Wednesday, the 25th of October, 2023. Laura and I both use the she, her pronouns. Your shirt says, I'll stop reading
After this page, chapter, book. Geek.
Was Kenna wearing this?
No, Jessie was.
Jessie was wearing this
Jessie
shirt.
got this from a company in Knoxville, and so she sent me the link.
Okay.
Because I liked it. She had it in blue.
Okay, I remember somebody on the trip wearing it, but...
Yep.
And mine says tax the church. So I didn't I didn't realize my opinions on churches in general were...
Decisive?
That's a good word for it. I guess they are. I have no problem with churches or religion in general as long as they aren't used to oppress other people. But that is not what this show is about, generally speaking.
Not even specifically speaking.
Yeah, this is a knitting podcast, usually. Do you want to talk about what you're working on?
Sure. I have 3 things in progress. Although I'm almost done with one of them, and it's new to y'all. So I am test knitting Puff Cuffs, which is a new pattern that will be coming out next week, I believe, by Shayna Lyons Designs, which I totally misspelled in the show notes. I need to fix her name. Shayna is wonderful, and she lets me test for her, and I learned 2 new things with this pattern.
Okay.
I did a provisional, what's that cast on called where you like fold it over?
The tubular?
Tubular cast on.
Mm-hmm.
And then I did a tubular bind off. So I did both.
Ooh,
And I have mitts.
That's awesome. I think tubular bind offs are a pain in the butt. I'm impressed you did it.
I know. Well, it was on a very small circumference. I can do anything on a very small circumference. So I had the first one done. Second one is underway. They are very different, but the same hand spun. I'm using some hand spun that I spun out of Kim Dye's yarn a couple years ago. She did some minis for Black Friday, and this was her like cashmere sparkle base. And I marled these, so what I did was I drafted 2 different colorways together and then plied those 2 different drafted colorways back on each other. So there's like 4 colors in each of the 2 colors in one ply, 2 colors in the next ply, so 4 colors total in the 2 ply. So yeah. And they're fun.
It's a fun pattern. Off the second one?
I am about to bind off the second one. I'm knitting these on size 2 and 3 needles. Shayna calls for 3s and 4s in her pattern. It's going to be super fun, and I can't wait to see what other people do. I definitely am going to knit this pattern again, even though it has that provisional cast on. I did mine with a crochet hook, and survived somehow.
Yeah.
Although I keep looking at those Woobles patterns, the little kits, and I'm like, oh, so they did a flying pig this week, and it comes with a little flying pig marketed crochet hook.
The
They're
marketing
so
on Woobles is very good, and apparently they come like started already, like it's been like cast on or whatever.
Yes.
Which is a good way to make it less intimidating for somebody who's just starting a craft.
Yep.
So
they also have a book of their patterns. Some lovely person bought it for my library because I have a ton of kids that crochet, and it's been checked out since it got put in.
Awesome.
So my kids love to crochet. They have, I took a bunch of yarn that I no longer needed, like some Lion Brand stuff up there, and they just devoured it. So,
good.
Yay for getting rid of some stash in a beneficial way. So that is the first thing that I'm working on. The second thing that I'm working on is my Floodlight Tee out of Oink Pigments. I was really going to push hard and get this done this week because it's in the 80s, like upper 80s here this week. But I did not. And then not tomorrow, but next week it's supposed to be in the 50s. But it'll be ready for next year.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
I got my 3 inches that I wanted to get from last week done. I tried this on and I wanted 3 inches more, and I have started the ribbing at the bottom. You can either bind off just plain and let it roll, or you can do ribbing. I don't like rolling hems. So I am doing ribbing, and then it gets an I-cord on the sleeves and an I-cord at the top edge, and then it'll be done. So hopefully by the next time y'all see me, this will be done and blocked. I have this much left, so I have plenty of yarn left. And that is out of Wink Pigments in their silk and linen base. So, and I found a tank top on Torrid that matches that blue perfectly to wear underneath. So I'm excited about that. That is living in a fat squirrel bag, which I had also jammed the mitts into. And then the third thing, which is also living in a fat squirrel bag, are my socks. So a couple weeks ago, I started some Woolens and Nosh socks on her Targhee base, her fingering weight Targhee base, in the costume party colorway. And last week, I went to 2 football games for several hours. And then this week, I went to a weird meeting. So the Retired Teachers Association did a meeting where they had politicians come and speak about our retirement and changes that they want to make to our retirement. And it was probably one of the most unwelcome rooms I've ever walked into.
Because surely the changes would do nothing but benefit the people affected.
So people were already kind of grumpy, but also, like, I probably lowered the average age by 20 years. There weren't a lot of current teachers there, even though it was sent to us. So it was a weird dynamic, and no one greeted me or said hi. I went up to a couple people I knew that have been retired for a while and said hey, but it was a weird dynamic. Anyway, I got knitting done, and I learned who I'm not voting for. So I have 1 whole sock done, and then in the meeting I cast on a second sock, and that is almost 1 full repeat done as well. If I get through this pink, it'll be 1 full repeat. I'm knitting those on size 0 needles. My 0 gauge is probably looser than the sweater Leslie's knitting on size 8s right now.
9s.
I'm a pretty loose knitter. But yeah, I'm hoping to get these done by Halloween, so I have new Halloween socks. I counted the other day and I have 15 pairs of Halloween socks. So I got a little way to go, but not terrible.
I would imagine you probably have 40 skeins of Halloween yarn.
Oh, at least.
Unknit.
Yep. So I will get back maybe after Christmas. I'll start. Maybe my goal for 2024, I can't believe I'm saying those words, would be to knit like a pair of Halloween socks a month so I can finish out that drawer.
Oh, excuse me. So I haven't knit a ton. Well, I've only knit on one thing this week, which is the V-neck worsted boxy. Or it's not a V-neck, it's just the worsted boxy. By Hoagie Locatelli. And I'm actually knitting it in a DK weight yarn, Cotton Comfort by Green Mountain Spinnery, which is 80% wool and 20% cotton. Really like the drape and like the feel of this yarn.
Oh, would you get it for a sweater for you?
No, this is for my friend Sue's.
No, I know that one's for Sue's, but would you get that same yarn for a sweater for you?
Oh yeah, if I were buying yarn. So last week I think I was about 3 or 4 inches in. I'm currently 15.5 inches in.
Nice.
And I have to get to 17 before I start the sleeve.
You're gonna
divide.
finish that tonight, like to the sleeve divide.
Oh, I might, yeah. But I mean, it's just stocking it around. I don't have to think. I don't have to count. So it's just around it.
And you should cast on another worsted.
And I'm knitting it on size 9, 5.5 millimeter needle. So it's just flying, which is nice. So I have this much left of the third ball. I got 7 altogether, so I'll have plenty. I'm not worried about not having enough. And Yeah, I really like the yarn. I would recommend it. And I like Green Mountain in general because they're an employee-owned company, and all their stuff comes from inside the United States. So
And the people that we've met that work there are lovely.
yeah, so I really like them as a company. So yeah, this is mostly what I've been working on. What else have I been working on?
Have you done any paper piecing?
I finished the one I was showing last week. So it's done. Well, the piecing part is done. So this is going to be a clock. I don't know why it's looking weird as far as, yeah. So I have to order the mechanism that has the arms and everything, because, well, I asked Malia and Amy Beth what color the hands of the clock should be, and they both thought like a rose gold or...
Ooh, yeah, rose gold would be good.
So, and while like local craft stores have mechanisms, none of them have that color, but I could just get, one from Michael's and then get paint and paint the little hands. Probably a lot cheaper than buying rose gold.
I'm sure you can just order it.
Or spray paint, because
Yeah.
spray paint will give a nice finish. So I don't know. I have to look and see. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with this. I do have to take the paper pieces out and mount it, but I'm happy with how it came out. I do think I'll be doing some more paper piecing, so I'm just going to try different sizes because these are super cute, but it's also very small. So I might go up to like 1.5 inch hexes versus just 1 inch hexes. We'll see.
Have you been weaving hexes? Speaking of hexes.
I have. So I've got one on here right now. So these little pin looms, you can get them from a ton of different places. I specifically got mine from Bluebonnet Crafters, and everything we talk about is linked in our show notes, and our show notes are on our website, which is TheKnitGirlls with 3 L's.com. And they're called turtle looms, and they're from Bluebonnet Crafters, and they're just really nice to hold in your hand. Like, they're very ergonomic feeling. And initially I think it was Malia that got me turned on to these things, and then at the craft thing earlier this month, Kenna, another friend, she got the diamond shaped one, which I was like, why would you get a diamond shaped one? Which of course then I went and got, because you can make these really cool, like tumbling block looking, like cube shape.
Oh, cute.
So it comes out when you assemble it. This is 3 separate ones put together, but it comes out looking like a hexie, the same size as a hexie, but like you could make them in different colors and they look like cubes. Like, gives it a 3-dimensional effect that I like.
It looks like you've been making lots of hexies, though.
Well, I gathered a bunch that I had already made, and I made a few, but I'm coming to the realization, so these are a couple that I made, and I probably realized this last year after I made them, and then just forgot because I haven't touched it in a year or more. The fingering ones are too thin. Like, this is, they make a hexie loom for fingering weight, but that's not what this one is. It's really more for sport. So they're pretty insubstantial, like they're very kind of floppy. But if you go to...
It might be good for a patch or something.
A heavier weight, like a sport, you get a much denser, nicer fabric. So these are some ones that I had created before. And like this is fingering weight. This is Ponky.
It's another crafty girl, and Gamut.
Gamut, that's the word I was looking for. And it's fingering weight, but it just seems a little beefier. I don't know why. I guess just the plump factor, how much it plumps. But, yeah, so I need to get some sport weight scraps. Sport is probably the weight I have the least of.
Fingering, like the ones from Joey in the Spring.
Yeah, the only problem with those is, well, it's not a problem necessarily, but, I would get like mostly one color and then part of another because of the stripe sequence. Yeah, so I don't know. I'm just gonna try some, but I may raid your scrap stash and see what you got that's in like a sport weight, because I just genuinely don't use sport a lot, so I don't have a lot of it.
Yeah, most of mine's due in the spring. But, you know, as you do.
That is not what that's supposed to be. What happened there?
I have no spinning and no finished objects, although I am about to do this bind off, but I am not strong enough at my tubular bind off yet to do that while recording. So I will measure out 4 times the length of this and then get a tapestry needle and do that tubular bind off, but I'm not going to do it on the air because that seems like a recipe for disaster. But yeah, anything else?
What the hell did I do there? Oh, there we go. I skipped a thing and it was knocked off all my...
Gotcha.
That makes a lot of sense, I know. Let's see. So as far as like books and stuff, what have you been reading?
I've been reading To Love the Dragon King, which is a fantasy male romance type thing. There are some like spy qualities to it, but it's dragons and romance and fantasy. So that's the main thing that I've been reading. I started that yesterday night, and after the Penguins lost, I read for a good bit. But that's it for me. I'm pretty boring this week. I've been watching a lot of hockey.
Yeah.
I've been processing a ton of books at school. I'm actually almost out of books to process. I have 30 more to get out, and then I'm completely caught up.
Which is not a problem. Like,
no, it's not. But like, my kids are so spoiled at school. They're like, "What do you mean there's no more books coming out?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Well, you know, we need money to order books, and I don't have money right now, and we just don't have books to get out." And they're like, no. Like, what do you mean? And I was like,
what do you mean you don't have every single book that's been published?
oh my gosh, like, they harass me about manga, like, big time. So manga is a form of Japanese graphic novels, like Dragon Ball Z, etc. And like, those kids, I have around 40 kids that come in every morning from 6:50 to 7:10, and they get 4 new books, and then they return them the next morning and get 4 new books. And over the course of the first 3 months, they've read through the majority of my books. And so now they're just like, what do you mean that you're not getting more? And I'm like, I just, there's no money, kiddos. Like, I have to have money to order books. So, first world problems. But they are very spoiled with what y'all have contributed to them in the past. So, they're used to getting new stuff all the time. And now we're caught up. So, although Susan B. Anderson sent some Diary of a Wimpy Kid came out today, the new one. So those arrived at my house as I was out. A UPS truck came up with Amazon boxes. I was like, I didn't order anything from Amazon. And I opened it, and it was Diary of a Wimpy Kid.
I have to take a big, huge bag of stuff to your house today.
No.
And I'm going to leave it there.
No, that's not how that works.
I love doing that, but I so rarely get to. No.
Because that's not what my house is for.
Because Laura's like, no, you can't do that. No, we have a local-ish store that does craft classes, and it's called 5 in 1, and it's in Memphis, and they do this quarterly...
I told my kids that crochet about it, like
this quarterly supply swap. So if you have craft supplies in good condition, they don't have to be new, but like in good condition, that you aren't going to use. Maybe you try to craft and it's just not for you, but you've still got all the supplies. You can donate them, and then if you donate, you get into the swap early. Like, I think it's on Saturday, and you get in like an hour early, and you get to choose first. Yeah. And whatever you see that you want is just free. You just take it. Yeah. I've never participated in it before, but one of our local crafters, Carol, has, and I can't get there during the day to drop the supplies off, but Carol is retired and offered to do it for me. So I've got a giant bag full of stuff, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. I'll do another one for the next swap. I don't know if I'm actually going to go and shop on Saturday or not, but it's one huge bag of stuff out of my house.
Yeah.
So it's a win for me.
It's a good way to get people who might not be able to afford to try new crafts something to try.
And I love the idea of like reusing things and not just throwing them away, just giving them to someone who wants them.
Yes, and they said anything that doesn't get grabbed, they'll use in classes.
Because they teach a bunch of
which is cool,
classes like stained glass and soldering and block printing and marbling and all sorts of stuff. So
I need to look at their classes again.
They have a block printing holiday cards. Like
oh, that would be
cards,
super fun.
One in November, I think, because I'm on their mailing list, so I always get their notifications. Let's see. As far as reading, I'm on the 3rd book in the Gobelino London series. It's called Complication of Unicorns. Apparently, that's what a group of unicorns is called. Complication.
Oh, cool! I did not know that.
Yeah. I mean, why would you? Unicorns aren't real. But,
not like narwhals.
And then I'm on the 2nd book of the Patrick Rothfuss series, The Wise Man's Fear. This one's a 42-hour-long book. It's just really it's a fantasy novel, but it's just told really well. Like, the details don't get overwhelming. You don't get drugged down into the subplots. Like, it's just told really well. So...
But you're enjoying it.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's basically all I've got.
We have a striped sweater knit along starting in November. It includes a bunch of striped patterns by Indigo Dragonfly, who unfortunately was vending at Rhinebeck and her yarn didn't show up. So,
which is like a stress-inducing.
Yes. She made lemonade out of lemons, though, and did like a measuring thing in her booth, which was super cool.
Yeah.
Where you could get your measurements taken. But yeah, I can't imagine how stressful that would be. Anyway, so you can get 15% off any qualifying pattern. There's her patterns are available on her website and also through Ravelry. The code is KNITMORE, all capital letters, 15. This knit along will be hosted in our Discord. It's going to start November 1st and run through the end of February. I'm probably going to knit Frog and Node, which is out of fingering weight, if I can get gauge. And then, I just knit 2 together unintentionally. Yeah, so we'll have to see. I need to start swatching.
Yeah, I've been looking at the patterns to try to figure out which one I want to do.
I do like her new pattern that she debuted at Rhinebeck.
I do like that one.
It is in Tarsia, but I really like it.
There's different, like she's got it written in a seamed or unseamed version. If you do the seamed version, it's not in Tarsia, it's just stripes. And then you seam it together.
Gotcha.
The Intarsia version is Intarsia, which that in itself doesn't bother me, but I think she must knit very loosely because her gauge is a lot. It's like 30 stitches to 4 inches, and I just have never knit a sweater at that gauge, and I'm not certain if I want to, but I'm gonna knit some swatches and see. I might just do some math and change the gauge for me, which is absolutely a thing you can do. So yeah, this is the hexie that just came off the loom. So what else? I don't think we have anything else.
Nope.
Laura's school book wish list is also on our website, TheKnitGirlls.com, in the show notes. And yeah.
Can keep my children from harassing me.
I mean, that is not a guaranteed thing.
No, it's still gonna happen. So don't feel obligated.
Yeah.
All right, I'm ready to do my bind off. Yay!
All right, well, you guys have a lovely week and weekend. We'll talk to you next week.
Bye, y'all.
Bye, y'all.